It's 4:30. This is WKYT This Morning. We're following news in France this morning where at least 80 people are dead after a truck loaded with weapons and hand grenades plowed into a sidewalk for more than a mile.
Storms that moved across the state caused damage in parts of central Kentucky. One of the storms caused some frightening moments for a family.
And family members of two people murdered in Pulaski County say they are not giving up hope 22 years later. We'll be hearing from the family on the case ahead on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. It's your Friday. We welcome you into WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Hopefully this weekend is going to give us some nice weather.
Yes, it would be good, wouldn't it?
It would be great. So, Micah, hopefully you got good news for us.
You know, last week it was very active, and then we hit the weekend, and the weekend turned out fantastic. This week, still pretty active in some spots. It was very spotty, so not everybody has seen rain, but when you have, it's been very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. You're not seeing that outside right now. And you know what? We may clear some things out for the weekend. I could have some good news for you in your 7 days. Frankfurt, we're at 70 degrees. Lexington coming in at 69. We get into your afternoon, 87. Another storm or two in the forecast. It's not a great chance of rain, but it's a pretty decent shot, and we'll get into that. I'll show you where I expect these storms for today and where the slightest chance of rain is for this weekend coming up.
All right, we could use some good news in the weather and around the world right now. It's a tough situation going on.
French authorities investigating right now what led to last night's apparent terror attack in the resort town of Nice.
Dozens of people, including several children, were killed when the driver of a truck loaded with guns and grenades plowed through a crowd that was gathered there for Bastille Day celebrations. The driver was eventually killed by police. Tina Kraus has our continuing coverage from London.
Forensic teams in Nice examined the bullet-ridden white truck overnight. Its driver mowed down dozens of people celebrating Bastille Day just hours before. One eyewitness captured the truck picking up speed as it barreled down the promenade. Mike Krikorian lives in Nice and heard the screams as people ran for cover.
We looked out our window off our balcony, and there were just people streaming down this pedestrian mall and, knocking over the tables of the cafes.
A father and son from Texas, Sean and Brody Copeland, were among those killed. Ben Terry captured this video as he and others hid in the storage room of a restaurant amid the chaos. He says the driver opened fire on spectators before police eventually shot him.
We wanted to believe that perhaps it was just firecrackers going off or fireworks, but it became clear that it was something a lot more sinister than that.
L'horreur de nouveau vient de s'abattre sur la France.
Hours after the attack, French President François Hollande declared terror had hit the country again. President Obama also condemned the attack. French officials are now looking into who else may have played a role. So far, no group has claimed responsibility. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
And France's president has extended a state of emergency and is planning to mobilize troops to bolster security. The U.S. Embassy in Paris is trying to account for Americans in Nice during the incident. Here in the U.S., Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump announced on Twitter that he is delaying the announcement of his running mate following the deadly attack in France. The announcement was scheduled for 11 o'clock this morning in New York. Trump has said at this point that event will not be held. He has not said when it will be held. Sources tell CBS News that Trump will select Indiana Governor Mike Pence as his running mate. But Trump has insisted during an interview on the Fox News channel last night that he has not made a final decision.
Storms that moved across the state caused damage in parts of central Kentucky and Danville. Some large trees fell. As Garrett Weimer tells us, one of them caused some very frightening moments for a family.
Mike and Barbie Halchin weren't home when the storm came through. But when a tree in their front yard snapped in half, it didn't take long for them to start hearing from their neighbors.
My neighbors had texted me pictures, and I got all nervous and upset, and I come straight home and called Mike at work and told him he needed to come home to be with his family because I was so scared.
The tree fell on a power line in front of their home and thankfully didn't damage their house.
This is unreal. It's an unreal mess.
Crews spent the evening trying to get the tree off the power line and turn the electric back on. Watching them work, the Halchins realized it was a close call for them.
We could have lost everything we had.
The homeowners here say the tree was beautiful and they loved having it in their yard, but now they're just glad it didn't hit the house.
I'm thankful it fell the way it did, because if it had fell the other way, it could have killed our little dog in the house and tore our house up pretty bad.
The Houchins say family members plan to help them chop up the wood and use it for firewood this winter. In Danville, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
In West Virginia, investigators say flash flooding killed at least one person. They say a woman died in Cable County, which is not too far from the Kentucky state line. Cabell, actually. Some people had to be rescued when water swamped their homes in the Huntington area.
They've waited for 22 years for justice, but family members of two people murdered in Pulaski County say they are not giving up hope. Investigators say 21-year-old Linda Gibson and her 4-year-old half-brother Cody Garrett were killed in July of 1994. Police have not made any arrests. Monique Blair talks to the victims' family members about the cold case.
Her brothers, the Gibson brothers, we've always looked and searched for the killers or killers. And we will never give up looking for them.
For 22 years, Clayton Gibson and his two brothers have wondered why. Their oldest sister, 21-year-old Linda Gibson, and her half-brother, 4-year-old Cody Garrett, were brutally murdered. They also wonder who is responsible.
She was a quiet, real quiet, shy girl. She loved her family, and she loved life. And I miss her very much, every day.
On July 3rd, 1994, Linda Gibson and Cody Garrett were seen walking along this sidewalk in front of this convenience mart on Bourne Avenue. This was the last time they were seen alive.
Like 3 days later, their bodies was found about 3 or 4 minutes away from Bourne Avenue in a field.
Clayton Gibson and his brothers believe Linda may have had knowledge of criminal activity happening in Somerset, and they believe that is what led to her death. 2 years ago, a deputy with the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office told us he believes someone had a personal vengeance against Gibson, and that Cody was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Because someone knows something. Someone knows who done it.
Now all the Gibsons have left are pictures and hope that one day justice will be served.
Never give up, never, never.
In Pulaski County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
And the Gibson brothers say they are hopeful because recently Pulaski County Sheriff Greg Speck personally reached out to them to discuss the case.
We told you about a Black Lives Matter sign at Bryan Station High School that has raised some questions on social media. The school told us it belongs to a Black Lives Matter club at the school. Fayette County Superintendent Manny Cox said the club has been a positive influence there at the school. Sabira Rayford talked to one of its members.
Of course, all lives do matter, but right now we're focusing on the Black lives because they're being taken very rapidly.
Nadria Lavizio says the Black Lives Matter Club at Bryan Station High School has been around for 6 months.
And this is the talent show I was telling you about. These are all the
She says the club has sponsored many different events to promote expression and diversity at Bryan Station.
I wanted for the students at Bryan Station to be able to have somewhere where they can voice their own opinions.
But that sentiment is not shared by everyone. A picture of the sign that displays the club's name in the school received a lot of backlash after it was posted to Facebook. Some people commented on our Facebook page saying the club excludes people who aren't black. Lavizio says that's not the case.
We have white people, of course, and there is blacks. There's we have interracial couples in there, and we have people that are Muslim in our group, like a lot of people from different backgrounds.
A news release from the school mentioned that the principal here was initially hesitant about the group's name, but after working with the founders and learning more about the group, he decided to approve it.
They came to the school administration and said, hey, we recognize that there are some disparities and there's patterns of that disparity. Instead of admiring the problem, we want to take action and engage in constructive conversations to have strategies to leverage those to improve that outcome so that we have a more fair and equitable school. Who could be against that?
The group says they have no plans of changing the name. In Lexington, Sabira Rayford, WKYT.
Well, we did reach out to a couple of people who expressed concern about the club. They did not want to go on camera, but one woman said she plans on setting up a meeting with the superintendent there at Fayette County Schools.
Our time this morning is 4:40 on WKYT, 20 before 5. Rise and shine. Let's get ready for this Friday. Get it done. Head for the weekend, huh?
I like that. You
there's the plan.
can't hit the highway for a family road trip until you've done one thing first. We'll tell you what that is when we come back.
Outside at the moment, we kind of have a couple of brief showers here and there, but you know, they're really not that much as this morning goes along. Now, afternoon, it looks like we'll have a couple of rumbles thunder, but there is a drier forecast in store. I'm going to explain that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We have a couple of sprinkles down towards south and southeastern Kentucky early this morning, but other than that, we are good to go as you walk out the door early here at 4:43. If you're walking out the door at 4:43, you're actually going to be beating those storms. Those storms actually come later on today, so I don't see any problems whatsoever during the morning hours. And when I say whatsoever, I mean just any widespread. It's nothing like that. So a couple of blips here and there, and that's about it. Defender picking up on that as we speak. Now we go through the day, only a slight chance of rain there as we head off into your noontime hour. Once we hit the afternoon, there is a small chance that we actually see a couple of rumbles of thunder and right across the northern zones, and then they'll make their way south as we go throughout the afternoon. I'd say they pop up right around 1 to 2 p.m. and then slowly but surely glide southbound. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Remember, most stay dry, just can't rule out a passing thunderstorm. Now we get in toward tomorrow and off into your Sunday. They're looking much, much better. I will tell you this, on Saturday, it's going to be one of those weekends that most of us will actually have a pretty good weekend. Mid-80s, that's not bad. And also holding on to lower dew points, so humidity's dropping too. And there is a small chance of rain, especially across southern half and off toward the southeast. That's your best bet of actually seeing a passing shower thunderstorm, but even that is not a good chance. So most stay dry this weekend. You can see on Sunday we have dropped the rain chances to 20%, only a slight chance. So we continuously drop those rain chances each and every single day, and it's looking pretty good there for the weekend. We will take that, and we need that too, because we just need kind of a break. I mean, we've had a day or two where you get breaks, and it looks like that's going to be the same story again this weekend. You see Saturday, most of that south, remember, but still most of us stay dry too on Saturday. Sunday, still that slight chance of rain is there. It's more about the temperatures this weekend than anything else. Mid-80s sound much better than the upper 80s to around 90 degrees like we've had the past few days, but that humidity way up. Then next week, couple of rumbles on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time. None of that is really widespread, so there's some good news. And you can see on Wednesday and Thursday, really things start to dry on out too. So hopefully we can get into a dry pattern somewhere in the forecast. This July, as Rebecca had been talking about the past couple of weeks, is the rain chances have been there. And the only good thing about well, there's two good things. It makes your grass look really green. But number two, it keeps those temperatures down. They're not 95, 96 degrees like we've had the past couple of years. And this is the hottest month of the year. So if we can get by this and keep this, yeah, man, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. But for the most part, remember, mostly dry this weekend.
All right, got that. Thank you. 4:46 now. If you're taking the family on a road trip this summer, your car might need a tune-up first.
Yeah, we've got some tips on where to take your car into to get it worked on in today's Mom's Everyday Minute.
Hi, today we're with Kimberly Hazen from the Better Business Bureau, and people are getting ready for summer trips, but they don't want part of their summer trip to be the bad memory on the side of the road.
Right, exactly.
What are some tips to get ready?
Well, the first thing you want to do is before you take your family out on the road, make sure your car is ready to go and sound. So pick a good car repair shop that's trustworthy, that is reputable. And the way you want to choose one is go online. Our bbb.org site is completely free, and we have reports on shops that are accredited, shops that are not accredited. If you can find a shop that's accredited, you're going to find somebody that's already meeting our standards. They've been in business a certain amount of time. They don't have a big pattern of complaints, and they're going to be a good person to work with.
Great. What about the warranty and all that?
If you do find something that needs repair on your car, you might want to check your warranty first.
All right.
It might be covered.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
For these tips and more, go to WKYT.com, click on Moms Every Day.
And it's good to have you with us here on WKYT this morning. 4:47 is our time right now, rolling toward the 5 o'clock hour, bright and early on your Friday.
The search is still on for a missing Northern Kentucky couple. Now friends and family getting some specially trained help to find the two people when we come back.
And we welcome you back to WKYT this morning. Some specially trained dogs helped in the search for a missing Northern Kentucky couple.
Robert Jones and Crystal Warner were last seen leaving a Washington County cabin on July 3rd. Police say they were murdered, and they later charged Craig Pennington with the crime. The nonprofit group WKYT brought in some search dogs to look around the cabin for clues.
When the family contacted us, I knew immediately about the case, and my heart went out to them, and we said we'd be happy to help in any way that we can.
While the couple's remains have not yet been found, police say they did find the couple's car abandoned in Georgetown a few days after they disappeared. The couple lived in Florence. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife is investigating a possible drowning in Grant County. Search crews were called out to Williamstown Lake yesterday afternoon. They have not released any details about the missing person.
An Eastern Kentucky restaurant is reopened 2 months after an SUV caused extensive damage to the building. Surveillance video shows the vehicle crashing into a subway in the McDowell community of Floyd County. A manager of the restaurant was standing outside at the time and was hit by the SUV as well. She had a fractured nose and a broken toe and needed stitches. She is recovering and has now returned to work. No one else was seriously injured. The crash caused thousands of dollars in damage. A Kentucky state senator has been invited to speak at the Republican National Convention next week. The Kentucky Republican Party says Senator Ralph Alvarado of Winchester, who is also a physician, will be speaking at 9 o'clock Wednesday night. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky is also scheduled to speak at the convention.
A Lexington woman will be featured in the next issue of People magazine. Carol Mullins is among those profiled for losing 100 pounds or more. Congratulations to her. She's the woman on the left on the cover. Mullins says she lost weight after being diagnosed with diabetes, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure. She credits Weight Watchers and kickboxing for helping her to lose the weight. The issue goes on sale today.
A spoonful of sugar makes the sweet treat at the Lexington Opera House this weekend. The Lexington Theater Company is performing Mary Poppins. The show features a lot of classic songs from the 1964 Disney film, as well as new music written for the 2006 stage version. The show has something for everybody.
So thrilled for our young people, maybe even for their very first time seeing a musical. We'd love to have them come out and experience Mary Poppins with us. It's great for the whole family. I think it will be wonderful for the children, but also I think many adults are going to have their hearts warmed by the story.
Mary Poppins continues through Sunday at the Lexington Opera House. Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Something to do inside. And coming up, we'll have a look at some of the stories that we're working on for you this morning.
Also have another look at your morning forecast.
Welcome back into WKYT this morning. It is now 4:56.
And it's time right now to take a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
Several new laws go into effect today in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. They touch on topics ranging from felony expungement to abortion to alcohol sales, even water resource protection. We'll be going over some of those new laws and how they could affect you coming up shortly.
Nothing says summer like a good summer fair. The Bluegrass Fair continues today in Masterson Station Park. We're live looking ahead to what's in store for fairgoers this weekend. That's all coming up in the next half hour of WKYT this morning.
They kicked things off last night, had a nice crowd, and it goes through the 24th. Now, let's check in with Micah to see whether you're going to the fair or whatever you're doing this weekend, how the weather will cooperate.
Yeah, boy, did it work out for them last night. I mean, we had storms all around us, but Lexington never really got hit big time with any storms yesterday, so it worked out for them. And it looks like it's going to work out for a lot of people as we head towards your weekend. Still a couple of rumbles for today. Not much going on this morning, only a very slight chance during the morning hours. And it's pretty humid still. Now we get into your afternoon, that's where a storm or two is possible. You can see most stay dry. It's only a 40% chance of rain today. And we actually dropped those chances just a bit in towards your weekend. So there is some fantastic news in your 7-day. I'll show you that coming up with another 2 hours of WKYT News. That's up at the top of the hour. We'll see you back here in just a couple of minutes.